Hi, in this video, our focus is going to be on a spinner, radio group, radio button, and checkboxes. I've set up a VCL project. The first thing I'm going to do is drop in a spinner. I'm going to go to my tool palette, and in my search box, I'm going to type in spinner, actually spin, and I'm going to choose a T-spin edit. And then if I run this, you'll notice the spinner allows us to choose a number, an integer, and you'll notice it also goes into the negative zone. We can restrict the spinner, and to do this we will select on the spinner, and if you go to the object inspector, we can go to minimum and maximum value. So let's assume our maximum value we want is 10 and the minimum we can keep at 0. And now if we run this, we have a spinner and the maximum value it can go up is to 10. And if we come down, the minimum is 0. So there's a simple example of how we bring a spinner into the GUI. If we want, we can put a label for the user. And we can name, let's assume this spinner will be used. So we'll change the caption to number of nights. So this spinner could be used for a user to select a number of nights, let's assume at a hotel. Next thing we're going to be looking at is a radio group. And under my tool palette, I'm going to type in radio. So we have a radio button and we have a radio group. We're going to choose the radio group, as this will group the radio buttons very neatly. Now let's assume we want to use this for, so we're going to be using this radio group, let's assume for the user to select the view they want at a hotel. So to add in C facing and back facing. So to add the items, we click on the radio group, and under object inspector, we go down to items. And next to our three dots, if we click on that, we put in the first one, C facing. That will be the first option. The second option would be back facing. And we will click on OK. And here we have the two options. Now, radio group 1 is our heading for this radio button. We can change that by going to caption. And we'll type in the word view. So we have our radio buttons. And if we run this, so you'll notice I could click on 2 nights, C facing or back facing. You'll notice the purpose of a radio button or the radio groups that we are using here is you're only allowed to make one choice. You cannot make more than one choice. So we could say this is binary. It's either C facing or back facing. We're now going to look at checkboxes. So I'm going to go to my tool palette, type in the word check, and then we have a T checkbox. So let's put in another checkbox. And we're going to put in a third one. And if we stay with our theme of the hotel, we can use the first checkbox 1. We're going to change the caption. Notice I'm clicking on the checkbox 1 and we change the caption to breakfast. Checkbox 2, we're going to use for lunch. So we're changing the captions. And checkbox 3, we're going to use for dinner. And if we run this, so you'll notice C facing, back facing, only one choice. And you'll notice with the checkboxes, we can choose more than once. So in other words, the user could choose breakfast, lunch, and supper, or he could say, I only want breakfast and dinner, or we can only make one choice with breakfast. So a checkbox allows you to make more than one choice. So I also want to show you a radio button. So if we type in radio, and you can get a radio button. And there's a radio button 1 and radio button 2. And let's assume this was for gender. So we could change the first radio button 1 to male. And the second one, go to caption, we're going to change to female. So you'll notice if we run this, we can see facing or back facing, male or female. So you will notice that our radio group, compared to the radio buttons direct, the radio group groups up the buttons. And if we're in a program that we're using lots of radio buttons, we can group them very nicely with our radio group. The last thing I want to show you is how to bring in a picture. And to bring in an image, which could be a picture, we'll type in image on our tool palette and we double click, and here we have it. And now we're going to load a image into the T image. And for us to do that, we go to the object inspector, and under picture we click there, go through our 3 dots, and now we need to have a picture saved in some folder. So I'm going to say load, and I'm going to go to my picture gallery. You can have it stored, you can download a picture. And if I go to gallery, let's assume I want, actually I'm going to go down to pictures. Okay, and I'm going to just choose a random picture, and this one is not looking very good, but once we click on select on the picture, we say OK, and there's our picture. Now you'll notice that I cannot see the whole picture. So if you want to see the whole picture, you can go to your object inspector and you go to proportional, and you see it's set at false. If you change it to true and you run it, and now I can see my entire picture. It's not a very good picture. I think we should change that picture to another picture. So I'm going to go back to picture, 3 dots, good revision. We go to load. Okay, we're back to load. And I'm going to go to another folder with my pictures just to get a better picture out. Okay, I'm there. And I have a nice picture of a stadium, which I'm going to choose. And then I'm going to say, once I have the picture, I can say OK. And if you go to proportional, it's on true. And we run it. And you see we have a picture of a stadium. So you also have other options, which is called stretch. And if we run that, that shows you your full picture as well if you stretch it. So there's your various options. So this is how we get our components such as your spinner, radio buttons, checkboxes loaded onto GUI. And in the next video, I will teach you how to program the buttons and the spinners. Thank you.